Hi, I am Quentin Schultz. This is Communicate for Life, where I talk about how we use the gift of communication to celebrate life, to build life-giving relationships with ourselves and with other people. Communicate for life so that we flourish. In an earlier video, which I'll link below, I talked about what listening is, and listening is becoming intimate with reality, with the way things are. And we want to practice really good listening, knowing reality, before we text, before we talk, before we write, before we make a video, whatever it is. There's an existing reality there. And the more we know about that, the more we can step into that reality and serve other people well, serve ourselves well, and build lasting relationships. So let's talk about 3 key principles involved in this true listening, not just hearing, but becoming intimate with reality. So first is we have to avoid distractions. Avoid distractions. The number one problem with listening for all of us is that we're easily distracted. So there may be other things happening in the room or other things happening online. Or maybe we're on a video and we're trying to listen to someone and there's some racket outside or something happening in the other room. And the dogs are barking and other things, distractions. This is a big problem when we go to communicate with somebody in public. Let's say we go to a coffee shop and we sit down to have coffee together and we want to have a real good discussion and get to know each other better and find out what's going on in our lives. But there's all kinds of racket, things going on, people coming in, leaving. There's music maybe playing. There may be people shouting when orders are ready and all of the rest. It can be very, very distracting. So distractions, get rid of them the best you can. Pick a time and a place for the communication where there will be fewest distractions. And if you are on video communicating with someone, make sure that you are not producing distractions in your background or around you, whether it's sound or visually. Okay, so that's number 1, is to avoid distractions. Number 2 is to focus on the other person or person's face, their faces. The most important visual aspect in human communication is the human face. We could even say the countenance. We read faces. We often can tell if someone is having a bright, good day, or they're down, or if they're concerned or nervous. I was at a meeting last night with about 15 people, and as I looked around the room at the people around that table, some people were looking down. They didn't even want to be there. And then when it was a turn for someone to talk, sometimes they were very nervous, and I felt badly for them, and I wanted to encourage them. In fact, I did encourage some people in the meeting when they made great contributions to the discussion. And one after the meeting came up to me and said, "Thank you for saying that. I really needed to hear that." Pay attention to the faces and your own face as well. What is your face saying to other people? I'll have more to say about that in a video I'm going to do on gratitude. So look for that video on gratitude, which I think is the most important emotion for us to carry into our communication. So number 1, get rid of the distractions. Avoid them if at all possible. Number 2, focus on others' faces. Faces tell a lot. And the third skill here is to repeat back what you think you're hearing. So when somebody you're in communication with says something, again, regardless of the medium, you repeat back what you think you're hearing, or if I can put it this way, you repeat back what your understanding is as you try to stand under them and let their words and expressions speak to you about what they feel, what they mean. That's what you're after, them, where they're at. And so you repeat back, well, here's what I heard you say. Is this right? And then you express it. See what they say. No, they'll say that's not exactly right. That's not what I meant, whatever. And the more you do this, the more comfortable it becomes. Because it's not criticism of you to find out that you are not interpreting or understanding them correctly. That's not criticism. That's a sign of love, of humility before them. that you're willing to adjust your understanding. It's a gift to them. So try that. Let me conclude with this story. I'm an avid birder or bird watcher. My wife is too, but I was out alone a couple of days ago birding early in the morning. I think I saw 42 species that morning. Not bad for this time in Michigan. And there are 2 loops that I go out. It's my favorite place to go birding. It's about 1.5 miles to cover the 2 loops. And some people out there are really fast walkers or runners. And there were 2 young women that were walking quite fast. Now, I don't walk fast when I'm birding because I'm hearing things that I want to tune in on. I often focus on the sounds of the birds, and I want to get them in the lens of my binoculars or camera if I have it with me. And so I'm going along on this, and these 2 women pass by me, coming toward me, and one of them is speaking up a storm. I mean, she is speaking so fast and so loudly and with such great opinion that the woman that she's walking with, who's trying to get a word in edgewise repeatedly, can't get any words in. It was the most impressive display of someone who was speaking nonstop and had no interest in listening whatsoever. So she didn't know anything about the reality of how the other person was interpreting her, understanding or felt about what she was saying. And then a couple of times they were looping around fast. I went by them again, and every time it was the same thing. And I thought to myself, boy, I would have loved to have her in one of my classes so that we could practice these 3 skills of listening. Now, maybe she had things to say that were really important and she needed to say them, and it was like therapy for her, and so that's what had to happen. I accept that as a possibility. But I also accept the possibility that she was simply not a good listener. 3 skills involved in listening, in getting to understand reality. And if you haven't seen it yet, watch my other video, linked down below, on what true listening is. Okay, thank you so much. I'm Quentin Schultz. This is Communicate for Life, for life-giving relationships with other people and with ourselves. Thanks for tuning in. Let me know if you like it. Give me a thumbs up, hit the bell ringer, subscribe, and put some comments down below, including questions. I would love to listen to you, and I'll do my best to listen well. I might even ask you a question about whether or not I understand your comment. Peace to you.